Welcome to the Voncast show. Today I got Tammy with me. How are you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
doing well. Thank you for being on the show. First, before we start, your last name is like a little longer. Can you pronounce what I say?
It's Rassamekiarttisak, 17 letters.
Okay, awesome. I didn't want to butcher your name.
That's
so I
okay.
asked. Very cool. So before all this stuff, wow, the walk here was kind of winded. Matsu House over
Yes,
here.
yes.
Okay, tell us a brief intro of who you are and what you do.
So basically, I'm a double major in public health and Asian American studies. I'm a current third year. I'm in a lot of clubs and orgs. You just want me to list them?
Sure, for now we'll start listing and we'll go into depth after.
So one, I'm an elect AS senator, one of the senators for the College of Health and Human Development. I'm an intern at the Asian American Studies Pathway Projects. I'm also part of VSA, which is Vietnamese Student Association, as a historian chair. I'm also part of New Student Orientation as a mentor. Hopefully, when I apply this year, I'll be a take cast member.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
Reason I wanted to get you on the show is because I think you're the most involved person I know on campus.
I don't know about that statement.
For me, in the years I've been here, for the people I know, you're the most involved and you seem to manage pretty well or decently okay, which is awesome, because I couldn't do that. So let's go back to the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Panorama City. I don't know. I guess the little area. I went to a school called, I think they changed it recently, but it was to me known as Primary Academy, now known as the Blue School.
Blue School.
I don't know why it's called Blue School, but it was, I think, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade. I didn't go to pre-K because my dad enrolled me super late. And so that's a funny story of how like I was a year younger than everyone else and I was enrolled straight into kindergarten.
Interesting. I have some relatives that grew up in Panorama City. Relatives that went to St. Genevieve's private school.
Yes, I've heard of that.
St. Gen. So are you the only child?
No, I'm the oldest of three.
Oh, okay.
That's why like I set an example for my younger siblings.
They have it hard.
I guess.
They have it really hard.
But they have connections.
True. That's true. So how were you as a student when you were younger? Did you recall liking school or not so much?
I love school. I love math. I can't say that now. I mean, math has gotten so much harder.
Yeah.
I loved math as a young child, but also because I didn't know all the things I knew that were associated with math and the Asian American, or the model minority myth. And so math just became unlikable to me at this point. But I love school.
Right. And if you like math, right? It's
Yeah.
just that when you don't like math and you're expected to like math because you're Asian, that's when it's an issue.
Yeah, that becomes a problem because then you're expected to excel in it just because who you are, and so that becomes really problematic.
Yeah. So when you're younger, do you know what you wanted to be when you grew up? Like a fantasy job?
So I never, like, as a child, I was super busy because my parents, they didn't go to like college and they immigrated here, so I'm considered the first generation college student, and so are my younger siblings. And so what I wanted to do, I didn't know exactly. I was like a little kid, I guess, imagining the possibility. I was like, okay, I kind of want to be a teacher because teachers are cool. But now, like, I really want to be a pediatric. It's still the same mindset I had when I was a child because I really like children. But I was a child back then, so I wanted to be a teacher because I felt like teaching was fun. But that was also what I debated about when I grew older, or now.
So you liked going to school. Math was a subject you excelled in?
Math and science.
Math
I
and
really loved
science.
that. I hated English.
Really?
I really hated English.
I'm the exact opposite. That's cool. I mean, I think science was fun for me up until it got super mathematical. So you went to middle school and high school. How were those years for you?
I mean, middle school, it was a little rough, only because the first year of middle school, so 6th grade, I was in SAS, and then I transferred to Magnet. So there was that shift in like, okay, I don't get to see my SAS friends, and like, but I still got the really cool experiences in like 6th grade that I wouldn't have if I was just 6th grade Magnet.
Right.
But the reason why I transferred to Magnet was so my parents were like, hey, if you do Magnet, then your younger siblings will also automatically be Magnet, and things will just be easier. But afterwards, I found like really cool friends, and like we just hung out together, so
That's
things were
great.
good.
Yeah, I also moved when I was 6th grade, like the beginning of the semester. I remember I had a hard time because that's I think around that time, 5th, 6th grade, is when you start, puberty starts, and like you're really starting to identify more with your friends and your family.
Which
There's
is
that
really
bond.
tough.
Yeah, so getting ripped away from one school and going somewhere else, it can be a challenge. How was high school? Were you a good high school student?
High school was tough because the program I was in, or I went to Cleveland High School, which is amazing in my opinion. I went to this program called CORE, which is our magnet program, and it's very writing intensive. So you know how I hate English, right? English became my strong suit because of this program, and so I'm like doing well in essays in colleges now because of that, and I'm like really thankful. But I hated English, and so like it wasn't just English, but our exams were called IUEs, so they were interdisciplinary unit exams, which is very scary because you basically sit in a room for like I think it was 2 to 4 hours because a period was like almost 2 hours.
Wow.
So it was that, and you'd have that time to write everything that you just learned, but making sure that it connected with the prompt. And so it was like, that's why essays aren't hard to me anymore.
You're fortunate.
Yes.
That's good. Wow.
Yeah, CORE was the program that also taught me a lot about like race, gender identity, and so that's why like
They taught that?
Yeah, they
in
taught
high
that
school?
there. So the 11th grade was basically the race unit, gender, and then like all of that. So we actually did a lot of what I did in college right now in Asian American Studies, but in like 11th and 12th grade, basically.
That's fortunate you had that in high school.
And so that's why I was like, when I was talking with Abigail, who is one of the peer mentors for Tracy's class, I was really fortunate because she was like, oh, you have that privilege. And I'm like, when I think back about it, yeah, I have that privilege because now I understand at the college level, because a lot of my teachers at high school, they were the ones who went to Asian American or ethnic studies courses, and they come back to teach the course. So I love them so much, and I'm like,
that is so cool.
and that's why it's interesting.
I was not woke until like late in college. We didn't have those programs offered, so that's awesome that they did that for you. Yeah, my high school experience, I was in like the regular math. I never took those AP or honors classes. That's awesome that you're able to. That's really cool. So it seemed like you were very involved. I mean, if you like school, you're more likely to do well. Did you feel a lot of pressure from family, like that you had to do well, or you just did well, like, in general?
I think it was because I liked school that I did well, and it was also the group of people that I hung out with. So basically, in the core or whatever, like that experience in what was it called in high school? It was like our SLP group, which is service learning project. So instead of like you individually going out to find that service learning, we made a group, and so it was easier. They integrated within the program, and so that group, my group of friends now, until like college, we're still best friends. We've been best friends forever. We've shared so much. We've shed so much tears, and I feel like it's because of these friends that I've grown so much, because we all like kind of critically think together, and we just come from the same high school, basically.
That's so cool. That's great. I wish I had that experience in high school in the sense of, doing community service and learning more about race, ethnicity, all these topics. I remember doing community service back in middle school only because we had to as part of the requirement. So you're just kind of like doing it just to do it and not because you liked it. So you went to Cleveland High, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Big ups. That's on Victory, right? Victory in Balboa? Or is that different?
It's like, I think Valnalden is the school like street,
Okay.
and then like Reseda.
Okay.
I'm really bad with
Me
directions,
too.
so I'm like,
horrible.
so that's what it is. And I remember we were talking outside about like if I was nervous doing this, but I told you I also did live TV news broadcasting.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me. What a horrible host, I forgot. 'Cause I'm nervous.
It's okay.
Oh, thank you. Reassurance from the guest. Thank you, I appreciate it. 49th episode, I'm still fucking scared shitless. No, but you did live broadcasting in high school.
Mhm.
So you're a news anchor essentially.
Basically.
What was that like? I can't even imagine. So this is live, so this is essentially like,
I mean, we did it weekly, so it was not even. Well, at first it was really nerve-wracking. I didn't think it'd be as nerve-wracking as it was in the beginning because you're not used to the camera. It's an inanimate object. And so like you would think talking to people is harder than talking to a camera, but no, it's the object because when the light goes on, so we had a camera and then they would have that little light box because we would have different cameras to switch on to like different like hosts, I guess, and whatnot. So when that light came on, it was like that panic mode.
Yeah.
For the first time for me at least. And then afterwards I was like, okay, this is pretty hard. And at first I signed up because I wanted to be host a lot, but that changed throughout the thing. I'd rather direct, I'd rather script write, I'd rather like do a lot of the behind the scene works than be in front of a camera. But that's just my perspective.
So what did you talk about? Like just events upcoming in the high school?
So for KCAV, it's KCAV, so one for every like week, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm gonna talk about the experiences as a showrunner, so meaning leading one of the groups. So as a showrunner for V group, what we did was like we came up with themes for the week. So K would like do the first weekend, we would have K's week to like plan it out. Then in my experience, C's week to like script write, V week to like, or A week to like film and edit, and then the last week would be us going on air or whoever we kind of like want to like present this news. So a lot of our like, cause I was the person who was in core, and a lot of my like teammates who included my younger sister and like her friend were also in core, and so we talked about a lot of like radical issues, I guess. So instead of like Valentine's Day and that romantic, like we had romance and whatnot, but if you look it up, it was one of the rollings that I was really proud of was like talking about a girl liking another girl, because you see that automatically in every like Valentine's Day show, guy and girl fall in love, yeah, but I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in like, okay, what can we talk about? Like we talked about news, so like the political elections, we talked about like women's rights, and we talked about, so our group was the one who was like really heavy, basically, and everyone knew that. So every other group, not to like bash, but like they had like the meme show, or like they had the alumni show, which was like pretty already planned or something like that. Something that wasn't heavy.
Right. Tell me more about this meme show.
It's all on YouTube.
Okay,
it's
I'll
like,
look it up
so
later.
it's like you see KCAV and it's like the meme. So it's basically like they would talk about like memes or like current things, like it was, I think, Regina George at the time. From Mean Girls. I don't watch Mean Girls, so I wouldn't get the reference. And they would dress up as that. And then she was like, I guess the host like waved to the audience, was like, nah, it doesn't matter, or something like that Regina George would like do. I still don't know who that is, but
I've only seen it once or twice in meme show. But that's awesome that y'all tackled heavier, more worthy topics. I always, whenever you say this, I always keep looking back to how I was in high school, which was a long time ago, and none of this was available to us. I mean, not to me. It was a matter of just passing and nothing mattered, like I don't know, it's so cool that y'all were like more conscious of what was going on in the world. I think now, approaching, the past few years, I think the youth is more conscious, more aware due to the internet. I don't want to age how old I am, but back then it was just like, I think DSL just like became a thing.
okay.
I think everyone's still using LimeWire.
I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
that's how you know. I know, man. I'm like 30, turning 31.
That's not much older than I don't know, like I guess, I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. I didn't pay her to say that, by the way. This was not a, yeah. So you got, obviously graduated college. Were there the choices?
High school. I'm still
High
in
school,
college.
sorry. Wow, stop it, dude. In high school, were there other choices, other schools you wanted to go to, or CSUN was your priority choice?
I mean, again, as a first generation college student, it was hard for me to even like, okay, I didn't know the process, but
Right.
again, I had that friend group that we really connected with, which one of them is my friend in the intern, and you probably know her, Kalia.
Oh, y'all were cool with
Yeah!
that?
Like, we all hang out, so like,
y'all were cool. I remember.
so like,
okay.
it was us five, so me and four other girls.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why we didn't have a guy in our group, but that's just how it
Okay.
worked, and we all like just kind of, it's, again, those lifelong bonds are like what gets us through everything, and we just
Right.
understand each other, and so.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I didn't know the process either. I'm a first generation as
Mhm.
well, and I didn't care which one I went to as long as I went. I was so far as going just to a chiropractic school just
Mhm.
because like it's a place my parents would get off my back. My dad was like, no, you should go to universities. It's you know, so in case you don't want to be a chiropractor. And for me, I didn't know the process either. I applied to different schools, like you know, UCLA, Berkeley. CSUN was the first one to accept me. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, I got accepted. I called my uncle, I was so happy. I came in here and I realized at the time like 90% acceptance rate. But still, I was happy. I'm
mean,
glad I went.
As a funny story, CSUN actually rejected me.
What?
Yeah, it was,
You?
okay,
Why?
so the reason wasn't because of anything that I did wrong. It was because my last name did not fit the SAT, like, you know, the little thing. And so, like, CSUN thought I didn't submit my SAT score. So, funny story, I got rejected from CSUN before calling them and telling them that I did submit my, like, SAT scores.
I didn't realize SAT score mattered for Cal States.
It doesn't matter as much, but you're still required to submit them.
Really?
So yeah, because I helped my sister just this past like weekend I guess, doing her like Cal State, and you're required to submit them. It's one of the little box you check,
Oh, okay.
but like it's up to the Cal State how much that matters, I guess.
I don't think CSUN really puts much weight in it. 'Cause I
But
did horrible.
The reason why it was because they said I didn't submit it at all
Oh.
because my last name, so R to the last letter of the A fit, but the K didn't fit, and so I got rejected for that reason.
That's yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm getting rejected from CSUN.
Yeah, there's no way. With your credentials and mine, if I can get in, you can get in. Yeah, so came into college. I met you. I think your freshman semester,
Yes.
second semester, spring semester.
Yeah, freshman, first year, second semester.
Spring 2017, right?
Mhm.
It was Allan's Asian American Studies 100 intro, right?
Yes.
Intro to Asian American
Mhm.
Studies. I was a peer mentor, and I was a peer mentor for your group. That's how I met you, and from there you've just been going at it, joining all these groups, which we'll get into right now. So again, what list the groups you're in on campus, the different committees, and what do you do?
So the first one that comes to mind, because that's what I did earlier this morning, is Associate Students Leadership, which I'm a part of as a senator for the College of Health and Human Development, alongside with Sabrina, since there's 2 senators for each college, plus upper, lower, and graduate.
What do you do?
So in that, what Associate Students Leadership does, our whole team, is to basically advocate for students, our constituents on a local, state, and federal level. So part of that is writing legislative referrals when we're seeing something. For example, my brother's wallet got stolen at the SRC because I guess some person was targeting the guy's locker room, and so it was a particular type of lock, and so he knew because his lock was gone and everything, and it didn't happen to just him, and so I wrote up a legislative referral to like do something about this. So basically we're advocating for students, and like wherever they feel like something should change or like anything, or if they're concerned about anything. So Executive Order 1100, right? Or 1100R. So that's also something that came to Senate, and we discussed about it. And like, if students have any concerns, they can always come visit us during office hours. Office hours are meant for us to like talk to. So usually for me, it's supposed to be for human health and human development like students. So that's kin or public health, health admin, and so forth. But if a student doesn't feel comfortable with others, or I'm the only one there, they're welcome to talk to me, and any problem they see on campus, from whatever they can think of, like the lights going out to there's no bathroom door at the bathroom, which was what I saw today, to anything at the state level, which is like executive order or like DACA that Trump was like all that about. So it's a whole variety.
Right.
So it's not just one thing.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Yes.
So, and then what was the other?
So the other one, because I also did it today, was Asian American Studies Pathway Projects intern. So what we do there is we advocate for ethnic studies, so Asian American Studies, Chicano Studies, all of that. And basically, if students would like to major or minor, because it offers a lot, we come up with events such as the Wellness and Terrarium wellness workshop that we had this past Thursday, and it was just for mental health, because we know it's like close to finals, kind of end of midterms or whatnot. And so we wanted to focus on mental health and how to relax students, because it's a topic that isn't necessarily spoken as much as like physical, emotional, like well-being. So something like that we brought into Asian American Studies, and just we create a lot of events, and also like we staff the house. So if you come to the house and like, or we're like, okay, I need help in Professor Allan Aquino's class, or Tracy, or like any of these, we also help with that.
Wow. All right. And there's also VSA, right?
Yes, VSA as historian chair. So basically, last, I guess, a couple months ago in May, we got elected. So ballots were counted and everything, and I became historian chair, which is something I already did in high school with like live TV news broadcasting. So I knew how to like take pictures. I knew how to like film a lot more. And so something in VSA is like, for historian chair, is to document that moment when you're in clubs and like events, and take pictures, so when members look back, they can see what they've done.
Right.
And something that I implemented within this year personally was monthly videos, because that was something that I wanted to recap and make sure that people, and so far it's been going nice, and I've implemented like little themes. So last month was like, I think, family for October, because of our Anchiem program. So everyone got like big and little, or like they met their new fams or anything like that. And I consider VSA as a fam as a whole. So even if it wasn't part of your fam or anything, if you hung out with any VSA members, you could submit that video or like picture or whatever. And so November's theme is thanks or thankful. So if they got like, if they shouted out someone saying, hey, this is the best bake ever, I can't believe, or something like that.
Wow. VSA is CSUN,
Vietnamese Student Association.
I was part of VSA. It's very cool. Wow, it's so cool to see you taking all these roles, and you're also NSO?
Yes, New Student Orientation.
What's that?
So we, as a freshman, I became a leader and now a mentor, and hopefully applying to be a TACAS member, but no words on that yet. So basically it's to help incoming freshmen come into like college. So it's like basically the tours that you see during the summer, not to confuse that with university ambassadors. Will they do it throughout the semester? So NSO is more during the summer, while like ambassadors, which I'm not a part of, is during the semester. And we also help with graduation, or commencement as it's called. So we see you come into school and we see you leave school.
The ones with the red shirts, correct?
Yes, red polo.
Red polo, the ones that ask you for tickets at the door, right? NSO, right?
Yes, tickets at the door. What do you mean by that?
For the graduation?
Well, I don't ask for the tickets,
Okay.
but yes.
You work that area?
Somewhere
Right.
along that area.
Wow. So are those all the clubs that you do?
I mean, I was part of facilities and commercial services. I just couldn't fit it
Right.
in this year's like schedule, because I just couldn't.
Yeah. How many units are you taking again?
Currently only 15.
Only 15.
I mean, usually I take a full load of like 16, and next semester I think I'm taking 17, not 16.
Question I have, and what probably everyone else is asking, how are you able to be part of these committees, clubs, groups, and have 15, 16 units and still, I don't know, function?
I mean, I guess it goes back to the background that I've had with like core. So I've done a lot of packets. So like packets were like 30, 40 pages in a night. Like, and that's something that is really hard for a lot of students. Like, how can he or she or this professor assign so much assignments? But to me, it's something that I'm used to because I've read so much. I've done all of this. Again, ethnic studies wasn't hard to me because I understood the concept. I've already like went through it during high school, and so like applying that to my public health classes and everything, it was similar in a sense, but it was public health related or health science related. And Asian American studies is like what I did for core, right? So gender, race, and everything. So now applying it to college, the assignments aren't hard. So if you take 15 to 16 units, but that's just me though.
Right.
And then for like the clubs and orgs, I really had to plan a lot because this semester was one of my most busiest with everything that I've done, because usually it was like 3 or 4, which was still a lot, but it wasn't as much as this year because along with Senate, I have to take external committees, external affairs, because you're supposed to be involved in internal, external, or university affairs based on your class schedule, office hours, on top of like another student rep for a different committee. So that took a lot of planning. So I like basically had a Google sheet or like Excel sheet because I saw Catlea do this, and then I just was like, okay, from 9 to 12 is when I have to do Senate meetings, from this to this I have to do that. So like I basically plan out my days, and I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do today, this is what I have to do, and oh, this assignment's due, so I put everything on my calendar. So if you like look at my phone, like on my calendar, okay, this is what I have to do, I have this interview coming up, I have this to send out, like during my free times, I'm sending out emails, eating while like maybe watching a small movie on YouTube, or like doing homework, or like reading for this test or something. So like you find those times in between to do all of it, because if you really love something, no matter like how much time it takes, you're gonna be able to have like, you're gonna find a way to actually like include it into your life.
I agree. So along with that, what besides from writing things down on calendars and whatnot, do you have any other suggestions for time management for students who may be having a hard time in that department? Because like, I know I had one. You know, what do you recommend?
So for me personally, writing it down, so basically having that calendar, because when I saw like how busy I was like, how am I gonna manage this? But so I color coded my like, okay, this is what I have to do. And in Senate meetings, we usually sometimes end early, like half an hour. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. That gives me time to walk to the amaze house. I need like 10 minutes to walk, which isn't bad. Then I like look at it and I'm like, okay, so this portion, you can't see what I'm drawing, but this like little square box that is like when I work. When I work is when like, okay, I need to break down what I need to do for ASPP. I need to eat because it's noon, and I need to like see what I need to do for tomorrow. So basically you take it day by day or like week by week, so you're not overwhelmed. Hey, I've got so many things to do. If you focus on the little things throughout the like week, things become more bearable.
Oh wow, very true. I like what you said. Wow, that's really good. Random, you and I are both Tracy Buena Vista fans. One cool thing she suggested, which blew my mind, which is kind of obvious, when you're writing an essay, a research paper or whatnot, you don't have to start at the intro.
You don't, and I suck at the intro, so.
Usually the intro is what you write last. Blew my mind.
That's because like your intro reflects your body and your conclusion and your ideas. So that's basically, how can you have written an intro when you haven't even written what you want to write? Right.
I guess my counter argument to that would have been, well, you should know what you're writing about. So like the intro dictates what you write about, right? So it's like the layout. But I totally agree with what you're saying. and she said, write what you're comfortable with at first, and also too, if you write a paragraph a day, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But many of us, like myself, indulge in procrastinating.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I have procrastinated. It's not like
Breaking news, don't get it.
it's not like I do it often, but sometimes things just get overwhelming. I have so many meetings
Right.
and everything. I forget an assignment. I'm like, oh God,
Right. Oh
like,
no.
oh no, because I have this assignment due tomorrow and I haven't started. But I get it done because past self me was like, okay, let's start like maybe outlining or like doing research. So I have everything to like future me who's panicking to do what I need to do.
I can tell you really like school.
Yes.
That's good. I liked school. I only liked school up until Asian American Studies. Before that, I didn't. But that's awesome. I can definitely see the passion. You reflect that with your how you talk about it, your motivation, your grades, and your just energy. That's really awesome. See, I think this is a great example of doing something you like. I don't think someone who hates school can do this well and have a smile on their face. So that's really awesome. Do you have any tips on how to kind of de-stress when you're, for yourself, when you feel overwhelmed, the world seems like it's, crumbling down around you? How do you, what self-care strategies do you use to cope with, all the overwhelming feelings?
I mean, that's a little difficult for me because what I like doing is like work.
Oh.
It's really, really bad. So like, I feel like if I'm like stressed out, okay, let me get my mind off this by sending out an email to the dean.
Okay.
That's like stressful, but I mean,
Interesting.
it's good stress. So e-stress versus de-stress, that type of like.
Talk about that. I don't know what that is.
So I think e-stress is like good stress, although there's no such thing as good stress, but like the good stress that gives you like, hey, maybe there's a surprise party that like there's a stress that you're planning it, but it's fun. So it's like not like de-stress where you're like that midterm's coming up. Two different types of like stresses.
So I think, some stress can be good, right? It helps you grow in a sense, right? I mean, if you're in your comfort zone, trying to box, a comfort zone, if you're in your comfort zone, you're not really stressed, you're complacent, right?
And you won't actually really grow.
Right.
So if you're in this box. That you want to like stay in, sure, that's fine, that's comfortable, but what more can you do if you expand your box or like step outside and like explore? There's so much that you can find.
That was well put. Is there any other advice you can give for students who may feel like, they want to stay in a comfort zone or too scared to try something out, the fear of the unknown? Is that something that you deal with on a regular basis? Kind of like you have to step out of your comfort zone and get out there? Is that something you have to do, or are you so used to it that it's not really?
I mean, there's always that sense of like that fear, or at least you don't know what's gonna happen. But what's the worst that can happen, in my opinion? So in camera, although you're not supposed to like do this, if you're taking a picture of something, the worst thing that can happen is like someone telling you to say, you can't take that picture, right? So me taking the picture already, I still have that picture. I done something, even though that person said no more pictures, I still have that picture. So if you go beyond and you find out that you like something, you won't know that you like something if you don't try it. So my motto is it's better to have tried and failed and say like, oh well, than wonder what if.
I like that. There's so many variations of that quote, but I like what you said. There was just one, I think Michael Jordan said like, at least you can shoot the shots, but for sure is 100% guarantee, I'm butchering the quote, that if you never take the shots, you'll never make them, So I definitely agree. It's kind of tough, especially with what you're doing. I mean, trying out for different committees, trying to get elected and all this stuff. I can imagine where it'd be so much easier just to like, not do all that stuff, just focus on school, but you thrive. It seems like you thrive under pressure. You thrive in certain conditions. I mean, sometimes that's what pressure does. There's that like cliche thing like, oh, pressure turns coal into diamonds. I don't know if that's fully true. I'm not so scientific in my nature, but that's really cool that you're able to channel that stress and use it for good, you know. Any advice for studying for finals? Because like you said, they're right around the corner. After this break we're having this week, it's a couple weeks.
Like 2 or 3 weeks.
There's dead week. I don't know why they call it dead week. Is it because like campus is dead or everyone is dead?
Yes and no, because students are like super quiet, not like quiet, but like things are just like you see zombies. So like that like coffee and then the bags under your eyes, or like I honestly don't drink coffee.
Me neither.
And I don't really have bags because I prioritize sleep.
Ooh.
Only because like sometimes I won't get enough sleep, but that's because I'm here until like 10 p.m. But that's besides the fact. Only because sleep is really important, and that hormone that for you to grow also functions between a certain hour of time. Don't quote me on this.
Talk about it.
It's because for sleep, if you sleep, let's say 6 hours each day, and it's the same time, let's say, I can't count, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically like 10 to 5. You're gonna be more energized than if you sleep 8 hours, but like it's like all over the place. So if you have that rhythm going and you are constant kind of, it gives your brain that signal, okay, now she's kind of sleeping, or he's kind of sleeping, or they are kind of sleeping. Okay, let's like growth hormones. And then that's when you like don't have that like headache that you have when you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I didn't get enough sleep, that migraine is killing me or whatever. So sleep, please sleep. Do not like, as much as like you'll pull all-nighters, that's not the best way to study. It's to like actually sleep on it. So after you've read something, immediately try to go to sleep, because it will be in your head a lot more.
Wow, I'm so glad we did a segment on sleep. People of your age, when I was your age, sleep was least of my priority. I think it's great that you've instilled this respect for sleep, because I do agree that sleep is so important.
I get cranky when I don't get enough sleep.
Yeah, no, I same here, and people drink coffee. I never got into it. I mean, at one point I did, but I liked the taste, but it made my heart race too much. And then there's that caffeine crash.
Yeah. So it's better for you to have a fruit than to have caffeine because of that crash.
Oh, okay, use fruit to energize yourself.
Because fruit is natural sugar, so I'm not a scientist, but you can do some research on this. Your sugar levels are natural, so like you'll have that constant little energy instead of like spikes of energy.
Right. My thing, how I wake up and drink a lot of water, like a lot of room temperature water. And
that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, because think about it, right? Our body is, I'm not a scientist, but it's a quote, that's the meme quote. It's not, this episode will be called "I'm Not a Scientist" with Tammy. I'm not a scientist, but I do know a large percentage of our body is composed of water.
Yes.
It makes sense to drink water.
That too, and you actually sweat when you sleep. So all that like, I don't know, gross sweat that you wash out, you're supposed to shower in the morning.
So
I know, I shower in the morning.
I shower at night. I don't know, to me,
I wake up by showering.
That makes sense. To me, I know, did I say I shower at night?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shower in the morning. I'm too lazy to shower at night. No, okay. Yeah, I shower in the morning too. Some people shower at night, but like, sometimes you sweat in the morning, at night, and you sleep, so I like showering in the morning, but back to it. Yeah, it's really good, I think, to drink a lot of water, because some people just go straight for coffee.
Yes.
And coffee dehydrates you like a lot.
And then you end up needing more coffee.
Yeah, and it's tough too when it's become a daily routine for months, years.
Because coffee is like, once you drink a small cup, you're going to increase in volume or like liquid, because that's not enough to keep you awake anymore.
It builds a tolerance.
Yeah.
And I heard that trying to get off coffee, you'll get cranky. It's tough. I know tea is a good way to kind of wean yourself off of caffeine.
Yes.
But finals, did we talk about finals yet? No.
We talked a little bit about finals, but then it was like sleep.
Right. So finals week is on the come up, it's around the corner.
Yes.
Any suggestions you have on studying, preparing?
So first of all, get your sleep. Second, you actually want to eat before taking the exam because you're not as nervous, and then you have that full belly, so you don't have that oh I want to gag up reflexes. And then you want to like study in chunks, so you don't want to study 4 hours right before the exam. You want to study, let's say, 30 minutes here, maybe in 2 days study, like go over that in 3 or 4 minutes, summarize like that in bullet points, and then maybe the next chapter or whatever you're learning, modules or whatever you're learning.
Wow. Yeah, I always told myself, beginning of the semester, oh, I'm gonna do so good. I'm gonna study so well. I always came to finals, not so much. Up until Asian American Studies. I was a business marketing major, bio major, and nutrition major. All I had to do was sciences, and with sciences and math, you just can't skip over one chapter. You have to get everything in.
Because it builds on top of one another.
Right. I don't have the best study habits, so I wish I could go back in time and listen to this podcast. That'd be cool. I wouldn't listen anyway, but I think it'd be cool, like hearing this from students as opposed to teachers. I think that pretty much covers it. Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. If you want to get involved like sooner rather than later, because then you won't have as many opportunities, let's say. So freshman, I did NSO, like I applied during the spring because that's when applications open, but also network, by the way, because I got a lot of my positions, or like I knew about a lot of my positions through a lot of friends. Network. So network and start early. So freshman year, did that, went to dinners with 7 Matadors. So basically it was like the Alumni Association, kind of meant for juniors and seniors, but I did it as a freshman anyways to connect with like other alumni who have graduated. They give me a lot of good advice, so do a lot of things, I follow a lot of like the school's social media, only because they do a lot of like giveaways, and that can help, like that, like Madam Money gift card, or like let's say, hey, we're hiring on campus, or hey, we have you can be part of this study focus group. So in little ways, if again you kind of want to stay in that box, or like just expand little by little, start with those like social media posts and like see what you can do, what you're comfortable with. Maybe an hour in a study focus group and you get paid with gift cards or whatever can be the start.
I think there's one question that I meant to ask that we asked outside of the podcast. What are the benefits of getting involved besides getting early registration? Because I know that if you're involved in sports, or if you're part of AS or clubs of that nature, you got priority registration, which comes in clutch.
It's really helpful.
If you're trying to get a class where it's limited, you get first priority.
Or close to that.
What's the benefits other than that?
So it depends on your club and org. So basically for NSO, I get to interact with both the graduates and their families, and for like the first time students, because we do get transfers too, I get to interact with them and tell them about all the resources here on campus. So not a lot of the students know that we have a Dream Center, and I'm like one of the few, I'm not gonna say few, but like not a lot of leaders advocate for the Dream Center because they didn't know it existed, but now they're getting a lot more like publicity, I guess. And so like in that sense, like you get to tell what resources that you personally have like seen, or like that have helped you along the way for students, and sometimes that makes a difference, because one student was like, hey, I didn't want to come to CSUN anyway, can I just leave? But at the end of the like orientation, this person, they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I said that, like CSUN is like, it seems really, really fun, and there's so many resources here. That's the thing about like college, like you don't know what's out there until you've seen, I guess, it, or like try to at least step out a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and speaking of resources, I think what a lot of students don't know is that you have counselors here.
Yes, we do.
In the Bahamian Hall.
Yes.
University counselors. I think you have a few sessions for free, I believe.
So I think it's per like individual.
Oh, okay.
So don't quote me on this because they change it up a lot. So it was per case, I think. So if they say this, it's again person by person. this person broke up with someone, maybe they need like a couple, versus someone who went through something really traumatic.
Right.
But
It
again,
depends, right. Yeah, I went my last semester, CSUN, pressure of graduating, the pressure of what's gonna happen after, and also personal stuff, so it was really helpful. Yeah, there's that pressure, as being a first generation, to being the first one to complete college in your family is a lot of pressure, but I think that's all. Thank you so much, Tammy, for being a guest. Thank you for enlightening us with your information and your knowledge. I learned a lot. I learned so much about orgs and what they do, which in my agency I never knew about, so thank you.
yes, no problem. And I encourage students to reach out to me
Definitely.
because, again, network.
Oh yeah, networking. We spoke on that. So, like, it's good to network so you know people and yeah, you say yeah. Go ahead.
Because like when you know people, they introduce you to other people who can introduce you to other people. That's how like I got my internship, because not really how I got it, but like I earned it because I knew Professor Tracy, and she was the one who said, hey, if you're interested, but to her class, apply. And so like I took that from her, but she was also the one interviewing me along with Professor Clement Lai, and so like things just kind of like go full circle.
Yeah, I agree, and also that this is how a lot of times we get jobs outside of college, right? It's not always your resume or your GPA. Sometimes people you know. A lot of stuff behind closed doors, you know. Hey, you know, maybe you're out with a friend, and you know, and like their boss is there.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. You know, like, all right, well, send me your email, send your resume, we'll see what happens. And sometimes you have a better chance.
Yes.
Before we go, who is your friend?
This is Totoro. I'm not gonna say he or she because I don't know, but from My Neighbor Totoro. It's from Studio Ghibli. This bag has been with me everywhere. It's been with me to like, I think the ropes course at like San Bernardino when we went to AS. It's been with me to Senate meetings. It's been with me to like my internship. I got this. My younger brother bought it for me for my 16th birthday, so when I was in 11th grade. And my friend like kind of like distracted me too, so she was like, hey, let's take a picture in the last class, and I was like, okay, this is weird, you never asked for something like this, like sure, let's take a picture. And then she was like kind of just following me, and I was like, this is weird, you never follow me. And so like when I got to my locker, I guess in like high school, opened it, this Totoro was there, and I was like in love with it.
That's
I
so
loved
cool. All right, well, thank you so much. This is the Voncast show. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Yes.